Hi ladies and gentlemen, this is Ms. Skokin. We are now in chapter 5, which is our probability chapter, and we're going to start off our first lesson in probability with 2 learning targets. The first one is interpret probability as a long-run relative frequency, and the second one is use simulation to model a random process. The backdrop of our lesson is shooting free throws. So let's read the setup. Ms. Skokin has been working on her free throws. How many free throws do you need to see Ms. Skokin shoot before you could be confident guessing her free throw percentage? We'll watch Ms. Skokin shoot free throws. When you're confident, make a guess at her free throw percentage. Now, my claim is that I can shoot with an 80% success rate. For you to be able to make your estimate, you're going to be using an applet. When you get to the applet, you're going to see that there is a line drawn at 80%, which is what my claim is. And then you're gonna shoot or simulate shooting as many shots as you need to see until you feel confident and comfortable that you can estimate the true free throw percentage. You'll find the link for the applet under Chapter 5 resources on Canvas. Here's what the applet screen looks like. The green button is where you choose to make the shot, and right above that is the number of shots that you want to make at once. That might be 5 shots, it might be 50 shots. For each person, it's going to take a different number, and the success rate that you see is going to guide you until you feel like you can actually make a pretty decent estimate. You're going to keep track of your estimate in the table shown. So let me just make an example for you. Let's say on the first shot, it was successful. So that means one successful try out of 1 try is 100%. Let's say on the next one, it was not successful. So that means 1 successful try out of 2, that gives you a 50%. And then you're going to go on in this way until you are ready to make your estimate and put it under question number 2. Don't click on the true percentage on the applet until you've gotten all the way through question 4. Then you can finish up number 5 and turn the video back on so that we can go over it together. See you back in a few minutes. So I have filled out my table, and when I got to 40 shots, I was pretty confident that the true success rate was 30%. So let's take a look at what the graph showed. Here is the 80% claim rate, and then you can see the different successes and failures that resulted in the guess, my estimate of 30%. How could we make our guesses more accurate? We could take more free throws, because the longer we do this, the better picture we get of what's actually going on. This is called the law of large numbers. And the law of large numbers basically says that although an outcome of a chance process is unpredictable in the short term, in the long term it becomes predictable and approaches the true probability. In this case, the true free throw success rate. As it turns out, I stopped too soon because I was not right when I made my estimate. The true success rate was 35%. Now let's take a look at how we interpret that probability. We now know that probability needs to be long-term. So the way that we're going to make the interpretation is we're going to say, if Ms. Skokin takes many, many free throws, and yes, many, many is a thing, then about 35% of them will be successful. Let's take a look on the next page of our box of important ideas. Our first learning target, you may remember, was the idea of probability being a long-run relative frequency. We also know that probability is always between 0 and 1, and in the short term is unpredictable, but in the long term is predictable. The second learning target we're going to learn about in the next lesson, but we also learned in this lesson about the law of large numbers. And the law of large numbers basically tells us that if we do something many, many times, the proportion of desired outcomes will approach the true probability. That brings us to the check your understanding questions, which you're going to work on, and then when you're finished, go on to Canvas and check your answers. See you back in class.